Alright, you want some notoriety from a YouTube beef? You want to threaten my friends in a feeble, pathetic attempt to silence me and derail my project? Sorry, but I'm not the kind of guy to have someone stab me in the back and then just let them walk away from it smiling. So, a few weeks ago on my BSCM Ride for Change YouTube channel, I hosted former United States Marine and current low-life shit disturber Trigger Warning on my channel to talk about his concept for an initiative to talk about the lacking mental health support systems for current and former military servicemen and women. I opened up a platform in good faith because I genuinely wanted to bring up ideas and try to effect some positive change. Despite this, Trigger found it appropriate to turn around this past week after my 24-hour fundraising game stream and, along with Loki from the appropriately named Dumpster Fire livestream, start bashing both myself and the BSCM Ride for Change. Now, as mentioned, I'm not the type of person to just get into it with someone and then just turtle. I didn't start this shit, but I'm damn sure going to be the one to put an end to it. You see, initially my response to this whole thing was to shine some light on the accusers and move on. I called them on their public statements, blocked them from further interaction with me, and left their Discord server as to put an end to all social interaction between myself and them. Well, I don't think they appreciated this very much, as their response has been to try and blackmail my friends, threatening to expose private details about them, to get those same friends to beg for my silence. Now, I'd love to be the good little Canadian and apologize for calling your bullshit, but I think this is a perfect moment for that old chestnut of a hashtag, sorry, not sorry. But Viper, you haven't provided any substance to support your claims. Oh, come on, dear viewer, would I ever leave you hanging on these citations? Here's the clip where Trigger Warning proudly proclaims that, regarding the accusations of the BSCM Ride for Change just being a way for me to fund an Australian vacation, he totally called me on it.
Oh yeah, somebody said, fuck JT, he wants someone to fund his vacation to Australia. I called him out when I was on his stream. That's the first thing I asked him when we went live.
Yeah, okay, bud, sure. I don't know about you, but when I plan a vacation, I don't pick an itinerary that sees me burning about 5,000 or more calories a day for 20 days and spending 4.5 to 7.5 hours on a bicycle each and every day in the heat of the early Australian summer. I don't know what kind of masochistic shit you're into, but that's pretty far from my fucking cup of tea. Along with this most recent serving of bullshit, it turns out that Trigger Warning has been trying to fuck with my project and my appearances on streams from the end of his interview on the BSCM channel. Here's another clip from the same livestream as before, in which he notes how he intentionally worked to disrupt the men's mental health livestream that I did with Fenrir of the Right, Loki, and Garmer.
Oh, since this sounds like we're wrapping up here, I just want to ask you a question, Mitch.
Shoot.
Why did you get so triggered in Fenrir the Pedophile's little live stream when LG Actual was saying that all it seemed like they were doing was complaining about women? They weren't offering solutions. You seem to get very upset with that. I don't know why.
Which one was this?
The one with Siggy on there. She was bringing up points, but then they kept telling anecdotal stories about their female problems in their life. But it was supposed to be about men's mental health. But it's 40 minutes of the hour was talking about their personal experiences with women.
I'd have to watch the stream again.
A week ago. It was a week ago, I think. Or 2 weeks ago?
Mitch is old. You have to understand Mitch is an old man.
He's senile. But I am LG Actual. That's why I'm asking.
You're what?
I am LG Actual. That's me.
Oh.
That's my other YouTube channel.
For those of you who weren't there, I was explaining the types of scenarios in which laws and public perception work entirely counteractive to men's benefits, creating an atmosphere of hopelessness that has been linked to the higher risk of suicide in men compared to women, that I have experienced in my lifetime to lend a more personal angle to the cold, hard suicide rate statistics. Some people respond better to straight numbers, and others prefer an emotional appeal, and I was working to try and cover both. My apologies to you, sir, if you are bothered that someone might have been abused by past partners, one case of which ultimately led to a suicide attempt for which they were committed to the local hospital psych ward for a week, and that they might want to discuss the lack of hospital programs available during their forced stay, aside from sectioning them off from the outside world, of course, and how the lack of realistically accessible post-release mental health resources very nearly contributed to a repeat attempt on their own life. But now I guess it's just too much to ask that someone make the logical jump from the problem being a lack of accessible mental health support systems to the solution being funding and establishing such programs. I didn't think you required that degree of spoon feeding, but if that's what it takes, fine. Here's how it'll work out. 1. There are no domestic violence shelters for men in Canada. Male victims of domestic violence thus go ignored and without support. This atmosphere of loneliness and hopelessness leads to depression and, ultimately, to suicidal thoughts and suicide attempts. To address this issue, it might be a good idea to start funding programs that assist male victims of domestic violence. I know, such a dramatic leap in reasoning. I see why you couldn't connect the two dots during the stream. I spoke with the lack of options, this is number 2 by the way, in case you weren't following, for parental surrender, and how women can trap men financially by getting themselves pregnant through deceitful means. This betrayal and financial sapping of the man can leave him with very few prospects even without a driver's license, or even locked up in prison in some places in the United States for not paying child support that they couldn't pay because of the driver's license taken away because they couldn't pay it before, so now they can't have a job because they can't drive. Might be some problems there. And that kind of news, the fact that a woman is now pregnant and has you by the financial balls, that for all intents and purposes, your dreams are pretty much null and void because some bitch conned you into getting her knocked up. And how that can lead men to suicide. How could we possibly address such an issue? Oh, I don't know. Maybe by expanding the concept of parental surrender to include a form of post-conception parental surrender that men currently lack, but for which purpose women have multiple existing legal options. Maybe look at establishing stricter laws in regards to the commission of paternity fraud. I don't know. Is that just too complicated for you to fucking understand? 3. I mentioned both things to show how the majority of people in society, or at least those in positions of legislative power, don't really give two shits about issues that affect men. This indifference towards men's issues, and in some cases outright mockery of them, as you have so masterfully demonstrated by the way, further contributes to the perception that men are not valued by society, that people do not care about the issues faced by men, and ultimately to the hopelessness that drives men to paint the walls with their own grey matter, you feeble-minded prick. You call people pedophiles, you threaten young girls with the release of private information, and you stab people in the back after they try to help you. And then you have the gall. The absolute temerity, the audacity to claim that if someone pushes back at you for acting like a piece of utterly reprehensible human refuse, that they're just playing the victim and milking it. Oh yeah, really turtling up here, crying, "Poor me," and whining for sympathy. Now perhaps I should be a little more accommodating, as your grasp of social norms and decorum might lead some others to perceive a touch of the tism in you. But I've got more faith in you than that. I'm not crying, "Poor me," I'm shouting, "Fuck you." Because I won't stand for your backstabbing schemes or your intimidation tactics. If it's playing the victim to call such things out as wrong when I can prove that they're occurring, then fine, paint me in that brush and be sure to use some broad-ass strokes. But it just seems fucked up to me that someone can sit there and attack a charity benefit, level accusations of pedophilia at people, and blackmail 16-year-old girls and think that they're not going to get any flack for it. Society's pretty fucked up, but it's not so broken as to let you get off scot-free with that kind of advanced douchebaggery. Viper out.